Welcome to this new driver's eye view video. In this program, we shall be travelling on one of the two lines linking the cities of Manchester and Liverpool in the northwest of England, calling at Manchester Oxford Road, Warrington Central, Widnes, Liverpool South Parkway and Liverpool Lime Street, a total journey time of around 53 minutes. The origins of Piccadilly start from a two-platform terminus which was opened by the Manchester and Birmingham Railway on the 8th of May 1842 and was known as Store Street. It was renamed in 1847 to London Road, and by the 1850s the station was beginning to become overcrowded with traffic. In 1862, work commenced on the station to rebuild the site along with a 200-metre-long iron and glass train shed. The station was once again overcrowded in the 1870s, and between 1880 and 1883 the station was expanded to allow more platforms. In 1910, a terminus station called Mayfield was opened to help relieve the ever-increasing traffic. 1958 saw London Road being rebuilt once more, this time as part of the West Coast Main Line's modernisation programme undertaken by British Railways. Although it remained open when being rebuilt, most services were diverged to Mayfield and Manchester Central stations. London Road was renamed to Manchester Piccadilly in 1960, and after the station's rebuild was completed in 1966, both Mayfield and Manchester Central stations were closed, as Piccadilly became the main station for the city. Today it is managed by Network Rail and has 14 platforms, 12 of which are terminal, along with 2 through platforms. It also forms an interchange with the Manchester Metrolink tram services. Piccadilly is one of 4 stations serving the city, the others being Victoria, Oxford Road and Manchester Airport. Many different railway companies use the station, including Avanti West Coast, Cross Country, East Midlands Railways, Northern Trains Limited, TransPennine Express and Transport for Wales. Our 4-car East Midlands Railway service is at platform 14 and consists of 2 Class 158 express sprinters. Built by British Rail Engineering Limited between 1989 and 1992 at the Derby Lithchurch Lane Works. In total, 182 units were built with 170 currently in service. 17 of these were built as 3-car sets. They have a top speed of 90 miles per hour and are powered by either a 350 400 horsepower Cummins engines or a 350 horsepower Perkins engine, depending on the subtype of the Class 158. They were designed to replace diesel-hauled passenger trains working secondary mainline services, whilst maintaining the same level of luxury, unlike the other members of the Sprinter family. The Class 158s are currently managed by Abellio Scott Rail, East Midlands Railway, Great Western Railway, Northern Trains, South Western Railway and Transport for Wales. Between Piccadilly and Oxford Road the line falls at an average gradient of 1 in 90. The stations, along with the lines through the city and towards Levenshulme and Ardwick, are built on viaducts to avoid the busy city centre. We pass a Northern Trains service consisting of a Class 150 Type 2 Sprinter and a Class 142 Pacer. Earlier this year, a number of Class 142s were brought back into service, coupled with Class 150s, following a change to the timetable to allow extra capacity for social distancing due to the coronavirus pandemic. Opened on July 20th, 1849, and was the headquarters of the Manchester South Junction and Altrincham Railway. Because of the station's location, it was always bound to be congested, especially back in the steam age when different railway companies competed with each other to provide the best services. The congestion is still around today, especially during peak times. The station was rebuilt in 1960 and then again in 1988 to cope with the rise in passenger usage. As well as having 4 through platforms, Oxford Road has a bay platform for the all stopping services from Liverpool Lime Street, operated by Northern Trains. At Deansgate we pass an all-stopping service to Oxford Road, formed of a Class 142 Pacer and a Class 153 Super Sprinter. Opened as Notts Mill and Deansgate in 1849, along with Oxford Road. It was renamed to Deansgate in 1971. A footbridge connects the station with the Manchester Metro link at Deansgate and Castlefield. At Castlefield Junction, the line continues north towards Walter Junction for trains to Manchester Victoria, Salford, Bolton and Wigan. It is also used for trains to Liverpool via Newton Le Willows on the northern route. We are on the southern route, and are running alongside the Altrincham branch and the River Irwell. Tram services started using the Altrincham line in 1992, when the line was converted from heavy rail, as it was one of the main lines to Manchester Central Station, which closed in 1969, and the station's building is now used as a convention complex. passed the Old Trafford's football stadium and platform, home of Manchester United Football Club. The platform opened on August 21st, 1935 by the Cheshire Lines Committee, who built the southern route from Manchester to Liverpool. The platform is only served on match days until 2018, when services were suspended due to health and safety concerns. We also passed Trafford's Eurofreight terminal. We passed the station at Trafford Park, which opened in 1904 and is served by 2 trains an hour between Manchester Oxford Road and Liverpool Lime Street, like with most stations on this line. Pass Humphrey Park Station, which opened in 1984 and gets served by 1 train every 2 hours with no Sunday services. We pass beneath the M60 motorway. Urlston Station, which opened in 1873 along with the line. We passed Chassen Road Station, which opened in 1934. Pass Flixton Station, which opened in 1873. It once had a bay platform and good sidings, but are no longer in use. Beyond the station, we begin to climb towards Earlham Viaduct at an average gradient of 1 in 135. Past the current station at Earlham, dating from 1893. The original was opened in 1873 at the former Glazebrook East Junction, just under a mile down the line, and was renamed to Earlham and Cardishead in 1879. The station was resited as the line was raised across the newly opened Manchester Shipping Canal in 1894. In the 1960s, the line between Glazebrook Junction and Skelton Junction closed to passengers, and then to freight in the 1980s. East Midlands services call at this station during peak hours only. This was the site of the former Glazebrook East Junction, which is now the site of a passing loop. We passed the station at Glazebrook, which opened in 1873. Here was the site of Glazebrook West Junction, where the Wigan Junction Railways built the line between the junction to Lancashire coalfields at Wigan. The line would close in the 1960s. We are now approaching Birchwood Station, opening in July 1981 and gets roughly 3 trains an hour in each direction, which are mostly formed of northern train services. Like with Earlham, East Midlands services stop at Birchwood during peak hours. We pass beneath the M6 motorway. Past the station at Padgate, which opened in 1873. Just beyond the station we slowed to 65 miles per hour for the tight curve, which was once the site of Padgate Junction for the Warrington avoiding line, but was taken out of use during the reshaping of British Railways. As we approach Warrington Central, we pass the station sidings, which is used for services terminating from Manchester. Opening with the line in 1873 and is the halfway point between Liverpool and Manchester. It was the second station to be built for the town, as Warrington's Bank Quay station opened 5 years earlier on the West Coast Main Line. The town would receive a new station 2 miles down the line to Liverpool called Warrington West, which opened on December 16, 2019. Central gets roughly 4 trains an hour in each direction, 3 of which are Northern train services, and the other being East Midlands Railways. We leave Central Station on the 830-metre long Warrington Viaduct. Alongside us to our left is the A57 main road and Warrington bus station. We now cross the West Coast Main Line, with Bank Quay Station being 800 metres to the south. This was where the Warrington avoiding line reconnected with our line just before we crossed the Great Sankey Viaduct over Sankey Brooks. We pass an East Midlands Railway service from Liverpool to Norwich, formed of 2 Class 156 Super Sprinters. This is the site of Warrington West Station, which is not on this route in Train Simulator due to the fact that this route is set roughly in 2010. It was built to form an interchange with local bus services as well as having park and ride facilities. we pass the station at Sankey for Penketh, which opened in 1874 as Sankey until 1903, when it was renamed Sankey for Penketh. When Warrington West opened just half a mile to the east, services calling at Sankey were reduced to just 2 trains a day in each direction, at peak times only. The future for Sankey for Penketh remains uncertain. This was the site of a triangular junction for the Widnes Loop Line network, where mostly freight services connect with the West Coast Main Line and the once vast goods facilities on the banks of the River Mersey. On the approach to Widnes, we pass beneath the A557, which used to be the St Helens and Runcorn Gap Railway until complete closure in 1969. Opening with the line as Farnworth, and was one of 3 stations serving the town. The other stations being Widnes Central, which was on the Widnes Loop Line, and the other station, Widnes South, was on the previously mentioned St Helens and Runcorn Gap Railway. In 1959, Farnworth was renamed to Widnes North, before being renamed to simply Widnes in 1968, and by 1970 was the only station serving the town. passed the station at Hugh Green, which was once the Western Junction with the Widnes Loop line. Hugh Green opened in May 1874 and gets 2 trains an hour in each direction. Passed the station at Haleswood, which opened in 1988. It is also the site of the once triangular junction for the North Liverpool extension line, which ran as far as Aintree Central, before continuing to the terminus at Southport's Lord Street station on the Southport and Cheshire line extension. Both lines were closed in stages between 1959 and 1972, with proposals to reopen the lines now discontinued. Passed the station at Hunts Cross, which opened in 1874 and had 4 platforms until 1972. It was electrified with the 750-volt DC third rail system for the Merseyrail's Northern Line extension in 1983 from Garston, which closed in 2006 following the opening of Liverpool South Parkway. As we approach Allerton Junction, the train maintenance depot with the same name is on our right. Merseyrail's Northern Line continues straight ahead, whilst we diverge right to join the West Coast Main Line. We pass and Northern trains all stopping service to Manchester Oxford Road, formed of a Class 153 and 156 super sprinters. Originally scheduled to open in December 2005, but opened on June 11th, 2006, due to the collapse of the group of companies known as Railtrack, and also due to poor weather conditions. The station, having a direct link to Liverpool John Lennon Airport, is also an interchange between the West Coast Main Line and the Merseyrail's Northern Line, as well as having its own bus station for local services, along with Park and Ride. Many train operators use this station. Merseyrail provides 4 trains an hour in each direction. Northern trains operate 3 trains an hour, with one being a semi-fast service between Manchester Airport and Liverpool Lime Street. London Northwestern Railway, East Midlands Railway, and Transport for Wales also provide an hourly service in both directions. We passed the station at West Allerton, which opened in 1939, with Allerton Station closing in 2005 to make way for Liverpool South Parkway. Passed the station at Mossley Hill, which opened along with Allerton Station as Mossley Hill for Aidworth in 1874. In 1974, it was renamed to Mossley Hill. Between Mossley Hill and Edge Hill there were 2 stations. This was the site of Trafford Park Station. It opened in 1892 and closed in 1960. This was the site of Wavertree Station. It opened in 1870 and closed in 1958. The line to the left continues on to the Alstom train care depot. As we slow for the tight curve on the approach to Edge Hill Station, we pass an Avanti West Coast service to London Euston, formed of two Class 221 Super Voyagers in their former Virgin Trains livery. The northern route from Manchester converges to our right, and to our left is the Alstom train care depot for the Class 390 Pendolinos, as well as some sidings for other electric multiple units. Edge Hill Junction is where the line diverged to the old terminus at Liverpool Crown Street. We pass the station Edge Hill, which dates from 1836, replacing the original. Beyond Edge Hill, we now enter the 50-yard-long Lime Street Tunnel and will pass through the deep cutting and tunnels on our way down to the terminus at an average gradient of 1 in 90, which was a punishing climb for steam engines, and banking engines were used. The 50-yard-long tunnel is the oldest tunnel in the world that is still in use. Originally consisting of a two-track tunnel, which measured 1,980 yards long, it was bored in 1836. In the 1880s, the tunnel was converted into a deep cutting to accommodate 4 tracks. Liverpool holds many world firsts in railway history. The Liverpool and Manchester Railway was the first intercity line in the world, opening on the 15th of September 1830, between Liverpool Crown Street and Manchester Liverpool Road, via St Helens Junction, Newton Le Willows and Chat Moss. This engineering marvel was designed and built by George Stephenson. When the line was completed, a competition was held to decide who would build the locomotives for the railway, and the Rainhill trials commenced. Only 5 locomotives ran on October 6, 1929, with Stephenson's rocket steam locomotive successfully completing the trials. The rocket achieved a top speed of 30 miles per hour, which was considered back in those days as a very fast top speed compared with today's trains. Apart from the world's first railway, Liverpool also had the world's first freight yard known as Park Lane. It also had the world's first tunnel to be bored under a city, which was known as Wapping Tunnel. It would ultimately close in 1972, along with Park Lane Freight Yard, during the reshaping of British Railways. The train we just passed is a 2-car Class 150 Type 2 Sprinter, operated by Transport for Wales on a service to Chester. The station opened in 1836 to replace Crown Street Station, as it was deemed too far from the city centre. 6 years later, due to the station's popularity, Lime Street received its first expansion and was completed in 1849. It was expanded again in 1867, along with the construction of the Northern Arch train shed, which, when completed, was the largest in the world with a span of 61 metres, as well as the first train shed to use an extensive use of iron. The southern train shed was completed in 1879. The 1960s saw the redevelopment of the station as part of the West Coast Main Line modernisation programme, and in 1966 it hosted the launch of its first high-speed electric intercity service to London Euston. During the 70s, the Merseyrail urban network was developed, closing the other terminus stations of Liverpool Central High Level, Liverpool Moorfields, and Liverpool St James, and replaced them with its underground network, connecting Lime Street with the Liverpool Circle. The Northwestern Hotel was completed in 1871 and is now a Grade II listed building, as well as being recorded in the National Heritage List for England. Today, the station has 10 platforms and is separated into two main sections. Platforms 1 to 5 are for local and long-distance services, while 6 through 10 are for intercity trains to London, Birmingham, Leeds, Sheffield and Norwich. Train operators include Avanti West Coast, East Midlands Railway, London North Western Railway, Northern Trains, TransPennine Express and Transport for Wales. As our journey ends here at Lime Street, our train starts its return journey back to Norwich, which will take just over 5.5 hours.